up, everyone? It's me, Stef The Alter Nerd, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to the Dose of the Daily Nerd, where I break down the royal news and gossip of the day that's pretty much caught me eye. And oh my goodness, yeah, let's jump into this madness, shall we? Because Megsy, in this Harper's Bazaar interview, that is certainly bizarre indeed when you do read it, she's talking about learning from her mistakes. And in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, she's talking about her mistakes with the royal family. So let's jump into it, shall we? So again, like I said, this is from the Harper's Bazaar interview. And the first paragraph from this particular article says, everybody makes mistakes. Yeah, generally we learn from them. Megsy claims to, but she doesn't. And I'm going to bring you the receipts in a moment. Stay tuned. But then says, when you're constantly under the scrutiny of the public eye, it can be hard to navigate those speed bumps. Bitch, please, she left the royal family with Azza because they wanted to be private citizens. Yeah, you want to be private citizens, but then you want to be famous and be in the public eye and release all these shows that pretty much bomb and have a lifestyle brand that, again, bombs and no one gives a shit about. Like, I mean, come on. Who's she trying to fool? You know what I mean? But Harper's Bazaar asks, what has, and I'm not even saying that, Megsy learned from those imperfect moments? She says, you learn not to do it again. Here comes the comedy, guys. There's also not a lot of fun in trying to be perfect. Even though when she tried to launch American Riviera whatever last year, right? The whole thing was predicated on being perfect. The perfect host, this, that, and the other, right? Yeah, there's also not a lot of fun in trying to be perfect. Yeah. I don't like things that feel overly realised. If you overwork the dough, it's not going to rise. And sometimes I think the stress that people put on moments, they are so consumed in them that you lose the fun of why you are doing something. Yeah. There's a lot of fun in trying to be perfect when it comes to, I don't know, getting your trademark applications correct. Just saying. And for those that know, you know what I mean with that, guys. But according to Harper's Bazaar, for Meghan, it all comes down to being able to drown out the noise. She says, I think the moment that you start making all of your personal decisions based on external judgment, then you lose your authenticity. I don't think Megsy has an authentic bone in her body. Even her dad, Thomas Markle Sr., said she ain't freaking authentic. I don't think Megsy would recognise authenticity if it jumped up in front of her freaking naked with, I don't know, lights all over saying, I'm authentic, I'm authentic, I'm authentic. I don't even think she'd recognise that. Do you know what I mean? But let's get into this, right? Does Megsy really learn from her mistakes, right? I mean, the Hazard and Megsy mockumentary, yeah? Was that just a mistake that she's learned not to do again? Well, this, right, was aired at the same time in 2022 as Princess Catherine's annual Together at Christmas Carol concert. Here's the headline. Princess Catherine announces a Christmas special on the same day Hazard and Megsy's Netflix documentary drops. And it looks like Megsy's not learned from her mistake on this one, as this year she's releasing her Christmas special on Netflix around the same time as Princess Catherine's annual Together at Christmas Carol concert. Because Megsy's special is being released on the 3rd of December, and that's 2 days before Princess Catherine's annual Christmas concert. Let's go on to mistake number 2. How about the mistake of going on their first fake royal tour in Nigeria? Seeing as the press saw right through their fakeness and called them out on it, and myself and many other of the Megxiteers that you watch here on YouTube, yeah, we were less than complimentary about that fake royal tour in Nigeria. But you know, according to Megxie, you know, she learns from her mistakes. So you'd think she'd learn from the mistake of the fake royal tour in Nigeria and not do it again. Pfft, of course she didn't. Of course she didn't learn from the mistake. Because they then did another fake royal tour in Colombia and the headlines got even worse for them. As you see right here. One word springs to mind when I think of deluded Meghan and Harry prancing around on fake royal tour of Colombia. Meghan and Harry aren't real royals these days. No, they're not. And this is the thing, right? We could be here all day as I catalogue all the times Megxie, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, has made mistakes and not learnt from them. In fact, going further to repeat the mistakes over and over and over again. But let's round it off, right, with a third example. And the final example that I'm going to bring to you guys for this segment. And, yeah. 2 words, 1 name, Princess Diana. We all know that infamous clip Megxie released on her Instagram the last couple of months of her either driving through or near, right, the Diana Tunnel. Trying to, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, cosplay Princess Diana by taking the same route before Princess Diana's untimely death. I mean, during that whole freaking trip to Paris, we called her out on cosplaying Princess Diana, not only by taking that trip even near or through the Diana Tunnel, filming it and then freaking releasing it to the world for some unknown crazy-ass reason. But some of the dresses that she wore, her mannerisms like this, we all called her out. She was trying to cosplay Princess Diana in Paris. And so, unless you were living under a rock, of course, there was major backlash with Megxie doing this, right? So you'd think, finally, right? She'd take her own damn advice and learn her lesson. Learn her lesson from that big, major Princess Diana mistake. And finally leave Princess Diana alone. But nope. Of course, she's not done that. Because in the same Harper's Bazaar interview where she claims she learns from her mistakes, she's been caught out yet again cosplaying Princess Diana. You cannot make this shiz up even if you freaking tried. You can't. Thanks to Monique in NYC on X for this one. Megxie is scary obsessed with Diana. We all know the idiot can't produce an original thought, but this is sick. Studying every pose she ever did is creepy and unhinged. Yeah, it is. These are the pictures from a Harper's Bazaar interview. These are the pictures of Princess Diana. Oh, the resemblance is striking. You'd have to be a freaking blind bat not to see. It's as if she thinks, right, that each time she cosplays Princess Diana, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, the public will associate her more with Princess Diana and then love her just like we loved Princess Diana. But again, she's not learning from her mistake. Because here, the more she cosplays Princess Diana, the more she gets called out on it and is disliked even further. So she talks about learning from her mistakes in this Harper's Bazaar interview. Yet makes the same mistake in the said Harper's Bazaar interview, which is absolutely hilarious in of itself, right? But however, as history shows, she's lying. Opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, she's lying. It is not the case that she learns from her mistakes. And from an amateur linguistic analysis perspective, someone who claims to learn from their mistakes, yet consistently through their actions, shows that they don't, Well, this reveals a disparity between what they state their intentions are to their actions. Because when a person falsely claims that they learn from their mistakes, this can indicate a lack of, I'd say, like true self-reflection. Or it can indicate a person unwilling to change deeply ingrained, like, behavioural patterns. Now, all that could describe Megxie to a T right there. And furthermore, when you look into what she says about allegedly learning from her mistakes, she uses generic language without providing specific details. And so without providing specific details, it could actually show that Megxie doesn't learn from her mistakes. As she doesn't specifically state or provide examples as to what she's learned and how she's going to change her actions to avoid the same mistake in the future. By only making vague statements like these as to how she might change in the future, this indicates to me that Megxie is not actually learning from her mistakes as she claims to do. And so, in a nutshell, by saying, I learn from my mistakes, or, as she says here, you learn not to do it again, but not saying after this how and what she's going to do to avoid the same mistake in the future, it proves to me that Megxie, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, is not committed to correcting herself and adapting to the right way of doing things. It proves the headlines over and over and over again of her being a dictator in high heels. It's her way or the highway. She thinks she's always right. She thinks she knows better. Well, for someone who's allegedly a dictator in high heels, right, with reports saying that she always thinks she's right, that she always knows better, that it's her way or the highway, this, that, and the other, right? Does that sound like a person who learns from their mistakes? Not a freaking chance in hell. She ain't learning from her mistakes when it comes to Royal Family. She ain't learning from her mistakes when it comes to her professional career, whatever the frick you want to call it. She ain't learning from her mistakes, point blank. Why? Because as I've just shown you with 3 freaking examples right here, makes a mistake, and she makes the same mistake yet again. Time and time again. So with that being said, for those watching live, stay exactly where you are on YouTube and X. I'm not done with you guys yet. We're going to get into the bonus Hazza and Megxie story, and this one, whoo, yeah. Again, we're drawing from the Harper's Bazaar interview from this week, and this one again is a blink and you'll miss it kind of moment, because Megxie talks about Archie and Lily, but she talks about basically not raising them, not actually being a mother to them, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. Again, this is a little bit of a blink and you'll miss it moment in the interview, so I'm going to be breaking it down in the bonus Hazza and Megxie story in a moment. So those watching live, stay exactly where you are. I'm not done with you guys yet. But if you haven't done so already, if you want more misadventures of the gruesome, twosome, and why not, then make sure you are subscribed to join our Alter Nerd tribe here on YouTube. If you're watching on X, make sure you're following me at Stef Alter Nerd for more misadventures of the gruesome, twosome. Like, share, comment down below if you're watching on the replay, your opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. Do you believe Megxie when she says that she learns from her mistakes? I definitely don't. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Again, those watching live, stay exactly where you are. But for those on the replay, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate all your faces. And until the next time, you guys, laters.